that's great. I mean, I don't know if it makes sense. Whatever makes sense.
9 minutes. Let's do it.
Okay, so this first image is of this notebook that I keep every day of the tarot. I gave myself a little reading. It started about 3 years ago. And the reason why I'm including it is because it's influenced the work the work that I'm going to show you tonight. Basically, it started as a sort of an exercise where I would try to get into the logic of dreams and symbolism. To some degree, I've been involved in the occult, although I never considered myself an occultist. Someone recently asked me in an interview if I was an occultist, and I actually looked it up in the dictionary, and it turns out I'm an occultist because I'm into esoteric books and mysticism and this and that and whatever. But I consider myself as a kind of Robert Anton Wilson occultist, which means that there's some science involved, there's a lot of questioning about what is real and what's reality, and there's also a big interest in its status as not being so proper in an academic sense, such as like science, even psychology, which to some scientists is kind of viewed as like voodoo, depending. Okay, so we can go to the next image.
Do me a favor. Stand there, because your images are literally darker, and that wall is darker. People can't photograph you. And it would be a shame for you not to be.
That's true.
Get in, people.
Okay, so this is an image that was taken directly from the journal, the tarot journal, which wasn't meant to be art at the beginning. It was my own thing. It was a daily thing, and it was a routine, and at the time it was important. But this is a piece that's about 48 by 30 inches or so, maybe 36 inches, and it was enlarged and painted in for anyone who's interested in that, on paper, and then fixed to a panel. And the hexagon was cut out of it. Anyway, so back to the tarot thing really quick. In this interview that I was just done recently, someone asked me if I believe in it. And in a sense I believe in it, but in a sense I believe in what atheists say and what Christians say at the same time. But also, the last time I did an art talk, the premise of it was that this could all be a hallucination anyways. So in a sense, I believe in it, but I also believe that everything that we see could be part of a computer program. So it kind of is a more so. I would say I'm more comfortable saying that it's a suspension of disbelief than being about belief directly. Go ahead on to the next one. Okay, so similar to the tarot. There's a lot of, basically it works with a lot of information from a lot of different angles all at the same time. There's archetypes and there's symbols and a lot of attributed meaning to things, from symbols to numbers, astrology, all this sort of thing. So I've put together these sort of situations. Somewhat I'm aware of what's going on, and somewhat I'm putting it up based off of aesthetics or off of things that are occurring to me as I'm doing it. And then I tend to go back and try to analyze it a little bit after the fact. In the same way that like tarot cards are dealt, you have to kind of like struggle to figure out the meaning. Look at my notes here. Okay, so yeah, this is all this work is done this year, 2014, by the way. Okay, go ahead to the next one.
What are the dimensions?
This is
like the whole thing.
I probably come up to about here. I mean, it's like. That's about like 9 foot tall.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the bottom left. This piece was made originally after someone who I knew killed himself, and I included it in this installation because I kind of, the way that I do it is that I can take pieces that I've made previously and include them in current installations, and that piece it becomes the art once I put it in the installation. I could decide that this by itself is a piece of art, but until someone buys it or it goes somewhere else, it's still fair game and I can use it in the current installation. So it's now at that point it's part of this art. And about a month after this, someone else close to me killed himself. So it had some kind of significant meaning, which is something to do with synchronicity and goes back to the whole tarot thing and all that. Next image, please. Okay, and this piece was in a show last month. Okay, so back to the subject of meaning really quick. I think a lot of my work is about meaning, and in some way or another. And I think that tarot is about meaning, and I think that people who do monochromes and abstract minimalist work, it's about meaning, and in a sort of strangely similar way. Like I had a conversation with Richard Nonas, the artist. I don't know if you know him. He does steel sculpture. He's an older fellow, and I had a conversation with him, and he started out making sculpture because he found two pieces of wood and he put them together, and he said it caused an emotional response. And that is the kind of like meaning that, to some degree, that I'm interested in, but then impregnating with a lot of this other information with archetypes and symbols that are familiar and symbols that have some sort of psychological meaning. This piece right here has a lot. I mean, I can go through each thing as I took it apart after the fact. I put it together. I knew that this is like kind of a pentagram form. You know, you have 72 degrees on each section. This is a mirror sculpture bit right there. This is also from the Tarot Journal, as well as this blown up parts. Okay, shrink. This piece right here is 120 degrees. So I started thinking about that. These are the degrees of a hexagon. And the fact that it was kind of teetering balance on that became significant. There's this other hexagon up here. This hexagon